Welcome back to the 2 Point Show, where we give you the latest sports rundown. We are your hosts, Gideon and Joey, breaking down stories, giving hot takes, and interviewing athletes around the world. From buzzer beaters to bold predictions, we will give you fresh analysis, real opinions, and some fun arguments along the way. So whether you're tuning in on your drive, in the gym, or simply on your couch, get ready for a good one. This is the 2 Point Show. Coming at you on a Thursday, big-time episode today. We got a former Michigan State quarterback who played from 2015 to, I believe it was 2019, 18. I don't know if I'm mistaken there, but we got Brian Lewerke coming on to the show today. Brian, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, of course, fellas. Appreciate you having me on. Anytime I can talk some Michigan State football, I'd always love to, so excited.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we got in contact with the guy who runs Spartans Country on Instagram. Shout out to him for making this possible. His name's Cam. Make sure Make sure you guys go check him out there. But here's a little background about Brian here. Brian grew up in Arizona, leading the Spartans through some big moments in the 2010s. He finished his MSU career as one of the program's most productive quarterbacks, I'd like to say, earning a bowl MVP, setting records, and delivering unforgettable performances in the green and white. After college, he continued his football journey at the professional level, bouncing around between he went undrafted to the New England Patriots, and then he was on the practice squad of the New York Giants. Then he transitioned to the XFL, where he played with the Seattle Sea Dragons in 2023. Then he wrapped up with football in 2023 on the Michigan Panthers in the UFL, played with them in 2024. And now he's just hanging out, talking ball with us, I guess. So, so that's a little backstory about Brian Lewerke.
But first, Here's the sponsor.
Thinking about buying a home or refinancing your current mortgage? Call Scott Falconer. For 26 years, he's helped people turn home ownership into a stress-free experience. Scott offers conventional, FHA, VA, and first-time options with down payment assistance. Purchase or refinancing also available. His process is affordable, fast, and hassle-free. This also comes with confidential pre-approvals and mortgage consultations. Reach out to Scott today at homeloanbyscott@yahoo.com or call today at 586-243-2555. Again, that's 586-243-2555. And let's get you home. Now back to the show.
All right, so
Brian.
let's get the opening question going. Tell us what you're up to right now. Your personal life and your football life. If you're coaching anything,
I've thought about coaching. I've thought about getting into it. It's definitely a grind to be a coach. So I'm not sure if that's. I mean, obviously I love football, but I think just like the time commitment of being a college coach is a little much. Right now I'm working in operations for like a healthcare company down here in Philadelphia. I got married in 2023, and my wife is from kind of like the outskirts of Philly. So she got a job down here, and we ended up moving to Philadelphia together after we got married. We've been here for almost 3 years now, so I'm basically like a Philadelphia sports fan now. It's a lot of fun.
So, are you a Detroit Lion guy or are you a Philadelphia Eagle guy?
See, okay, I like like the Lions. Like living in Michigan for 5 years when I was in college. Obviously, I had no connection to them when I was in Arizona, but when I moved to Michigan, it was a lot of fun to root for them. I still like to root for them right now, but most of the time you kind of have to be like an Eagles fan if you're living in Philly because you get booed if you're not.
Very respectable. That makes sense. So, all right, Brian, we're going to jump into a little childhood growing up questions here. I just want to ask first thing, what was it like growing up in Arizona, and how did your hometown shape to be the athlete you are today?
Yeah, it was a good place to grow up in because of the weather. Obviously, like you can train football year round. My dad obviously pressed me to go to like quarterback training every Sundays when I was a kid. I kind of started going hard into playing quarterback in 6th grade and stuck with that all the way, obviously, up until I stopped playing football a couple years ago, but Arizona is a great place, and all my family still lives down there. I would love to move back eventually, but I don't know if my wife wants to do that. It's a little too far away from home for her. But no, yeah, it's great. Pinnacle High School was where I went to high school, and it kind of was able to start there for 3 years and kind of kickstarted my football career.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes. So how big of a role, like you kind of touched on, your dad, it sounds like, was he like your high school coach? Was he got you into football? Tell us, the role your family played in.
Yeah, my dad, he didn't he wasn't a coach. He obviously loved sports, but he was never athletic enough to be able to participate in sports. I mean, I think he played a little bit of like basketball in high school, but he was also like a smaller guy, so he wasn't playing football or any of that sort of thing. But he's smart, so he was able to figure out like what a player needs to do. Like he knew from a young age that I was going to be athletically gifted, and if I had like the right coaches around me, that I could maybe become something special at playing football or baseball or basketball, whatever it was. So he got me to do all these camps growing up, the Elite 11 quarterback camps when I was in high school and all that sort of thing, and he got that kick-started. So his presence in my life has obviously been tremendous.
Anybody else besides your dad? Any close people that would say inspired you?
Yeah, I mean, I got a brother and a sister, both that are younger, that have always supported me, and obviously they had to do school and stuff when they were younger, but they tried to go to as many football games as possible when I was playing at Michigan State. And obviously my mom, she supported me through everything, and pretty much my entire immediate close family. And then even when I was playing football, there would be family that I didn't even know about that would come out of the woodworks to come watch me play football. So just like the fact that we have such a deep rooted family has been great.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when did you first realize you wanted to be a quarterback?
So in 6th grade, I actually wanted to be a receiver, and our team had like 25 receivers that were trying out. We had like one quarterback. So my coach was like, "Hey, we need some guys to play quarterback," and my dad obviously volunteered me and threw me out there, and I didn't like it at first. I was more of like a running quarterback. I would just take the ball and run with it. But as I grew older and started training at it, I realized I was pretty good at throwing the football, and it became a lot of fun to touch the ball every single play.
I do remember you being more of a mobile quarterback back in the day at MSU.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. So, the quarterback, it kind of has this, thing where, you're the leader. You're the leader on the field. So at such an early age, how did the leadership aspect of things, shape into the leader you got into, your college days?
Yeah. I honestly wasn't too much of a talkative guy when I was in high school, and even younger. I was more of a lead by example type of guy. So it really took growing like out of my shell, because obviously as you get older and you want to play college ball and you want to play in the NFL, you got to be able to be a vocal leader. You can't just be the quiet guy that sits on the sidelines. So I had to kind of learn how to be a little more vocal as I got older, and I got a lot more comfortable with it and a lot more comfortable like talking in front of a crowd and stuff, doing stuff like this. High school me would have never done like a podcast or anything, or like an interview or nothing. I would have hated that. So the fact that I was able to kind of grow out of that, and just by having guys around me that were confident in me as a player, kind of helped procure that process.
Very cool. Did you have any like quarterbacks that you looked up to as a young kid, or any even NFL players in general, or even college if there were some college studs?
I mean, I always loved Aaron Rodgers. I liked to model my game after him when I was a kid. I was actually born in Seattle and then moved to Arizona. So when I was in Seattle as a small kid, I liked Matt Hasselbeck a lot. I think he made at least one Super Bowl, maybe two, back when he was playing. Mm-hmm. So I was a big fan of his. But I liked how effortlessly Aaron Rodgers could throw the football. And as I got older, I tried to kind of model my game after his. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Very cool.
So yeah, we'll go to we got another topic, your Michigan State career. So what kind of put
big one.
What put MSU in the recruiting process for you? What kind of let's say, put MSU on the radar?
Yeah. So it was probably mainly like the Rose Bowl game in 2013. I remember that was, I think, my junior year of high school, maybe my sophomore year. I'm so old now I can't remember what years it was, but that Rose Bowl victory against Stanford back in 2013 kind of put Michigan State on the map. And obviously, like, I hadn't really, like, I knew what kind, like, of the school. I'd never been like, oh wow, this is a pretty sick school. So obviously they won that, and then they offered me in the off season after, and I ended up taking a visit up there at some point, and immediately fell in love with it when I went up there. Just the atmosphere of like the campus, the weather, the weather there when I went was fantastic. So I got a little tricked into that. I think it was like in the springtime, and it was like 70 degrees. I was like, man. This is nice. I like this. Get out of like the Arizona heat, and obviously it gets down to like -20. But just like the environment there, Coach D'Antonio, the head coach, was a great coach. I loved hanging out with him, and I thought he was going to be a great leader for me, and so that's kind of why I chose him.
In your recruiting process between MSU and other schools, if you don't mind me asking what other schools you had, but along with that question, what made you ultimately decide to come to Michigan State over those other schools?
Yeah, I had a couple SEC schools. I had like Tennessee, Ole Miss, Florida that offered, and obviously the West Coast schools, UCLA, Arizona State, Oregon State, a couple of those schools. My main other school that I was considering was Arizona State, obviously just close to home. They had recruited me basically since I was a freshman in high school. They were the first school to offer me a scholarship. They were pushing hard to kind of keep me, and I really just wanted to go out of the state and get away from home a little bit just to experience something new. Michigan State had a great pedigree of NFL quarterbacks. They had Connor Cook that was currently there, Kirk Cousins before him, Brian Hoyer before him. So they had a bunch of guys that were NFL-type quarterbacks, and that's what really drew me to Michigan State.
100%.
Yeah.
Tell us about your first impressions on Coach Mark D'Antonio. I mean, when you first arrive on campus, what were you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of thoughts going through your head. Like you're feeling new, a little overwhelmed. But Coach D was great at calming you down. Coach Brad Salem was the quarterback coach when I was there as well. He was the one that mainly recruited me. He was great. I loved hanging out with him. But Coach D just had like he was very serious when he needed to be, but he was also a very like loving type of guy. He's not gonna like verbally berate you. Like he'll get on your ass a little bit, but he's not gonna do something crazy and make you feel like you're a worthless player. So that's really what I loved about him.
For sure. And honestly, just what was it like playing for him? Because he was obviously, Michigan State fans know he's talked as, MSU fans have so much respect for Coach D'Antonio. So just the fact that you got to play for him, I'd love to know just what was it like playing for him.
Yeah, it was great. He obviously he's the winningest coach in school history, so that's a proud accomplishment that I was able to achieve and help him achieve. So just the fact that he's had such a great pedigree of being a head coach, and the way he coaches, the guys that he would bring in around him, the assistant coaches, just kind of the family atmosphere that he built when we were there was awesome, and that was the main reason that I wanted to play for him.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So throughout your career, what would you say your toughest, your hardest challenge you had to face throughout your career, and how'd you get through it?
A couple probably. I had a couple big injuries when I was in college. The biggest one probably being when I tore my labrum on my right shoulder. Not like a full tear, a partial tear, so I didn't need surgery, but it definitely hindered my ability to throw. And just kind of getting through that and battling that injury and not being able to play as well as I wanted to, having like kind of a bad season. That was in 2018, and we went I think 7-6 that year, so wasn't the greatest year. Just kind of battling through that and being able to get over that and get healthy was probably my biggest challenge. And it kind of just took a little bit of time to get over that. Once I just have to wait for your shoulder to heal. You can't really do much about it. So just time just kind of healed that one.
Did you have any other? You said you had multiple injuries. What else did you have? I know we talked before we started the show. You said the broken leg, but what else besides that? I mean,
that was it. It was probably just those two. I mean, there's a couple plays as well where I definitely got a concussion, and it like didn't seem like it at the time, but like looking back, I'm like, man, I definitely probably got rocked a little bit too hard on that one. But yeah, I broke my leg in 2016 against Michigan. So those were like the two big injuries that I had, and I kind of had to overcome.
nice. So these next two questions, answer them. Have two different answers for these. So the first one is, do you have a win or moment that you feel Michigan State fans don't talk about enough in your career?
I don't know. Maybe, let's say, I was the first Michigan State quarterback to throw for 400 yards in back-to-back games, but we ended up losing one of them. It was 2017.
I remember that game.
Yeah, 2017 against Northwestern. I threw for like 450, and we lost in overtime. And then we played Penn State either the week before, I think it was the week after, and we beat Penn State. That game also was in a monsoon, and it got delayed like 4 hours, but I threw 400 that game. We won that game, but I think just the fact that I was able to throw for 400 in back-to-back games definitely doesn't get talked about a lot. But hey, I mean, it's fine. It's an old record. It'll probably get broken pretty soon. We're going to have some good quarterbacks with the NIL era coming up. But
For sure.
So, what do you think your favorite win was, and your worst loss as a Michigan State Spartan?
Favorite win, probably 2017 against Michigan. I think it was the first night game in the rivalry's history, and we won after a crazy monsoon in that game too. 2017 was just a year of bad weather games for us, but that one we didn't get a delay, but it was pouring rain that game, and then I'll have to couple that with 2018 against Penn State. Throwing to Felton Davis in the corner of the end zone, like right in the student section area, with like 20 seconds left to score a touchdown. That was sick. So that was those two wins were probably my biggest. And then, man, I mean, Ohio State, we played them. Like every time I feel like we played them, we just got smoked. 2017, we lost like 45-3. 2018 was close, and then 2019, I think we lost like 42-7 or 42-14 maybe. But so whenever we played Ohio State, they ended up just rocking us.
What would you say before all the NIL era and just 5-star recruits, and just pure coaching? What would you say made Ohio State like so good?
I just feel like they. I mean, with the NIL era, you can get guys that are really good from other schools, but they were able to get guys that were really good out of high school just because they were Ohio State. And they would never they would lose a guy to the NFL, and it wouldn't matter because they would still have another 5-star waiting behind them.
Right.
So they just had so much talent on the field that even if their coaching wasn't great, they could still win games.
Gotcha. Okay. So wait, I'm trying to think about this. So the game, I'm just trying to get my years correct here. The game that you guys beat Michigan in 2017. I believe it was low scoring. You had a rushing touchdown early on. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. I got some knowledge here, guys.
Yeah.
Favorite stadium or college you've ever played at?
I would say Penn State. Playing in Beaver Stadium, it was for sure the loudest stadium I ever played in. I think it holds close to 110,000 people. And when it's a good environment and a good game, that place gets really loud. I'm sure Ohio State would probably also get pretty loud. But going back to my other point, we never were really in a game with Ohio State, so their fans would really not care about it come the fourth quarter. So Penn State probably was the coolest stadium, loudest for sure. I didn't get to see much of their campus, but their stadium for sure is the loudest.
For sure.
Who are some of the best teammates you've ever had, personally and talent-wise?
Yeah. I mean, so personally, a lot of the guys that I lived with in college. I still talk to. Joe Bocce's one of them. Kenny Willekes, Tyler Higbee, Grayson Miller, and then Bryce Wilker were my 5 roommates that I had in college. Still talk to those guys a bunch. I love them. It's been great being friends with them. From college still up until now. I'm actually going to one of their weddings in July. So just the fact that we've been able to stick together and still be friends out of college has been great. And then probably like the best overall player, Brian Allen. If you guys remember that name, I'm sure you do. But he played center. He started at center for me in 2017. Ended up playing for the Rams, winning a Super Bowl with them. And he was just such a smart player. He wasn't like the biggest guy, but he was just such a smart guy. And that's what made him so good, is that even when he was undersized, he could still play in the NFL and move guys that are 100 pounds heavier than he was, because he was just so smart.
That's very cool. Where did you live on when you were at Michigan State? Where did the football players or your boys essentially? Where did you guys live?
We lived up on Forest Street. It was like kind of by, it's like north of Crunchies.
Okay.
Like there's the park that's behind Crunchies, and then if you go even more north of that, like a street over, that's kind of where we lived.
So is that just football players in general, or is that just your guys' like house?
That was just our guys. Freshman year we would live in Case Hall, like right across from the football facility.
Cool.
And then after that we could go off to wherever we wanted. So that was like, we like rented a house there for a couple years. So yeah.
Nice. That's very cool. That had to have been fun. I mean, come on.
It was a lot of fun. And like 6 football guys in the same house.
I'm sure that house is not clean.
No, it was certainly not. My mom would come every weekend during the football season and clean up the whole house. It was, God bless her, because I don't know how she would do that.
Miss Lewerke, we're sorry.
Yeah.
All right. So, Brian, do you wish you got like the opportunity to be a college athlete with the new world of NIL and making money nowadays? Do you ever like think about that and question it?
Heck yeah, I do. I mean, I probably, after my sophomore year, I don't know. I don't choose like money over like hanging out and with my friends and being at like a good school, but I probably would have been offered a couple $1 million after my sophomore year to go transfer to somewhere. And I mean, who knows? As a kid that's 20 years old, and someone waves $1 million in your face, like it's tough to say no to that. So I'm not going to say that I wouldn't have said no to it, but it would have been nice to at least be able to make a little bit of money playing college football back in college. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah,
for sure.
So a lot has changed from MSU football with coaches and stuff. What are your first impressions on the new hiring of Pat Fitzgerald?
I love it. I think he's going to be a great head coach. Just the way that he carries himself, the intensity, seems like a very high energy, blue collar type of guy that lets his work talk for itself. Obviously, he's very vocal and very animated when he's watching the basketball game right now, and I'm sure he'll be animated when he's on the sidelines for football games here in the fall. But I think it's a good hire. I'm excited to see what he's going to do, and he seems to have a full backing of NIL money to be able to get players and coaches. So I'm excited to see what he's able to cook up with it.
Yeah, that's definitely a huge factor, because I feel like Jonathan Smith just didn't have the NIL with all this new donors and everything, the $400 million, all that stuff. So it's definitely a huge asset to have that. Brian, talk about your time playing in the rivalry against Michigan. It
was a crazy rivalry. I didn't know much about it and didn't know how intense it was coming from Arizona, but I mean the second the first time you're in the rivalry, you know exactly what it means. And I mean, my first time was the Jalen Watts-Jackson scoop and score, so that was obviously a crazy first introduction into the rivalry. But it's an awesome rivalry, and we don't really like each other that much, and both teams know it, all the fans know it, so it makes it even more fun.
For sure. Yeah, man.
Good answer.
Nice.
So we'll go to your pro career, these bunch of questions here. So the pre-draft for the NFL. Just kind of talk about your mindset going into your, do you have any superstitions before any big games, before any, I don't know, big combine stuff? Just tell us a little about that.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't like a huge superstition guy. I would try and wear like the same, I mean, maybe like the same undershirt that I would have every single time, but there wasn't like a big crazy. Like I wasn't too crazy on that. I mean, I did like to listen to like the same song as I walked out of the tunnel every single time, no matter what stadium it was in. So I guess that was probably the big thing.
Did you so when you got drafted, or not drafted, you went undrafted, sorry, apologies there. But when you were in the combine and starting to just prepare for that, just how do you prepare for the combine compared to preparing for a game?
Yeah, there's a lot more. Oh, I wouldn't say a lot more, but I mean there is like a kind of a mental game that you have to play with the coaches and interviewing you. Like they'll just try and catch you off guard and say some stuff to try and catch you, like biting your tongue and saying something. They'll try and trick you on a play, like if you're drawing up a play on a chalkboard or whatnot. Try and see like how much football you know. There's obviously like the physical side to it, so the training is more like speed training, not as much weights and stuff like that. It's a little different than like your everyday training during like a game week.
Nice.
What was it like competing for an NFL roster spot in a bunch of NFL camps?
Yeah, it's definitely intense, and you kind of realize that this is like a job. It's not just something that you do on the side like you kind of do in college. You got school and football. The NFL, obviously, there's only football, so you're competing with guys that are 35 years old that have a full family of kids, and they got to provide for their kids, and you got to try and beat them out and take food out of their kid's mouth and put it onto your plate. So it's definitely like a cutthroat business, and but I mean it's a lot of fun once you like kind of get established at a place and you become friends with all the guys there. It's a really fun environment.
So like what's the biggest difference from NFL experiences to college experiences or games?
I guess just like off the field, there's not as much of like a camaraderie and a brotherhood as you have in college. Like you've been, at least back in my age when guys would come in as a freshman and stay for 4 or 5 years. You're like with the same guys the entire time, so you get to know them, you get to hang out with them like every day. Once you get to the NFL, you could know a guy for like a week and then he's cut or he's traded or something like that. And even if you're on a team for a long time, the roster continuously changes, and it'll change year over year, and you got to see new faces. So there's just not as much of like that brotherhood that you have in college. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Did any players, veterans, I guess you could say, or coaches say anything to you, like advice wise, that has stuck with you till this day?
I mean, I've always had guys that say like the NFL is different, but it's not like you're not playing like a whole new world of football. It's still football at the end of the day. They're just a little bit better in everything they do. So that was kind of what my coaches would tell me in college, and what my agent would tell me is that no need to be like nervous or anything. These guys, like, they all grew up doing the same thing you did. They played at college. They made it to the NFL. They did that sort of thing. So there's nothing to be afraid of or nervous of, and that just kind of helped me stay calm and doing whatever I was doing.
So Brian, you've stepped away from playing football since 2024. What do you plan on doing in the next couple of years? Are you gonna keep staying away from football? You think you might come back? You think you might maybe pick up and play even more? Or you just done with it all in general? Just tell us what you plan on doing the next couple of years with your life.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be involved in football in some aspect. I love football too much not to. I would love to do like some private quarterback training wherever I end up settling down. I'm still living in an apartment right now, so once I kind of get a house and figure out where I want to live, where me and my wife want to live, I would love to do like some private quarterback training, because that was what I grew up doing as like an athlete. Like I would train with a quarterback coach down in Arizona, and I feel like I know a lot of stuff about throwing a football, and I could teach a lot of kids some good stuff doing it. So that would probably be like the extent that I'm considering right now of like doing football.
Cool.
Stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
Gotcha. So if you could give any advice to young quarterbacks, who want to make the NFL, who want to play college ball, what would you say to them? Any advice, wise words for them?
Yeah, I would say just stick with it. I didn't like going to my quarterback training when I was a kid. My dad would force me to go, and it's not fun. It's not a fun thing to do when you're a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old, and all your friends are hanging out and playing video games or doing whatnot, and you got to go do some quarterback training stuff that you like to do, but at that point you're not in love with it. So I would just say just kind of stick with it and take it as far as it will take you. Play football as long as you can, because it's obviously going to end at some point, but it's a lot of fun to play while you're doing it.
For sure. All right, Brian. I kind of just thought of this question on the fly, and it's a little. I'd like to say it's a funnier question. I would say, I know that's not a word, but that's just how to describe it. So, post game, you guys, let's just picture this. Post game, you guys are coming off a big time win at home. Where are you and the boys going post game?
So we would go back to our house initially, gather the troops over at our house, and then field house was kind of the place to go back when I was in college. I think I've been back a couple times to Michigan State, and I haven't been back to field house. It's always like tough to get in now, but that was the place that we would go to my junior and senior season. Lou Haas was also a good place to go to, but field house was the main one.
For sure. All right. I've never asked a MSU athlete or anything like that. Probably shouldn't ask the current athletes. So.
Yeah. Only ask the guys that are graduated.
Yeah. Well, hey, Brian Lewerke, everybody. That's gonna do it for this episode. Brian, just thank you so much for coming on, man. We had a lot of fun doing this.
Yeah, of course, guys. I really appreciate you having me on. It's been a lot of fun, and I love talking kind of my career in Michigan State football anytime. So.
Yes, sir. All right. Well,
Appreciate it.
That's gonna do it for this episode of the 2 Point Show. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.